Ladies and gentlemen, we are live in living color. Welcome to another fantastic episode of This Week in Reselling, where I have a little help with my friends. Here we'll disguise the highs and lows in reselling and dive into great conversation. We're positive you're going to hear something that's going to help you become a better reseller. I'm your host, Ray. Guys, and I said it all the way through without messing up.
It's about time.
It's
about time.
I know.
Not done yet.
Not done yet. And I'm here with two of my co-hosts. We have Brendan with Big Time Flips in the building.
What is going on?
We have Joe with that flip that.
$3 whole dollars.
Big money, Joe.
And our guest for today, guys, and Kristen couldn't be here today, but put down in the comments something that you like about Kristen. Put it down in the comments. Put it down in the comments. Put it down in the comments.
Put in the comments.
And also,
where in the world is Kristen?
Where in the world is Kristen? That's right. She kind of does have, like, she's giving off some, like, Carmen Sandiego vibes also.
Yeah. Right?
So, also, if you didn't catch last week's episode, we're doing a giveaway on the last episode. So, if you haven't watched it, check it out. It's a really good one. But today, we're talking about today's episode. We have none other than Shane with Soda City Flips. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome Shane with Soda City Flips. Shane, how are you doing today? I need to have some applause.
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you guys inviting me to come on. Joe, appreciate you reaching out to me, bro. I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, well, Shane, we really wanted to have you on just because of I know that you have a couple new ventures going on. You're a co-host of the new or revamped version of the Reseller Island podcast.
Yep, that's
correct.
correct.
Make sure I had it correct. With Jade Ride, we had him on a couple episodes ago. Guys, if you haven't listened to the After Dark on that one, you need to because it gets super spicy. And Keith with Vintage Sports. Yeah, Vintage Sports Flips. So how has that been going on for you? Also, Shane, before you answer that question, I really wanted to have Shane on because another huge transition that he just had is that he transitioned from, what would you say, the workforce to full-time reseller. So I really want to get your perspective on that and just the hurdles and everything that you've been going through with that. Because, I mean, that wasn't by choice.
Yeah.
Right? And we'll get into that. So
forced full-time reseller.
Yeah, sink or swim situation. But Shane, before we get started, if people don't know you, give us a little brief intro. Give us the origin story. Give us how Shane became Soda City Flips. And I didn't know this, but Soda City is the nickname for South
Columbia,
Carolina?
South Carolina.
Why is that?
South Carolina. So, yeah, Soda City Flips. Everybody asked that. Where's the Soda City come from? So Columbia, South Carolina is where I live. I'm right outside of Columbia. And it's been called the Soda City for many, many years because the initials for Columbia are COLA, which is cola. And somewhere down the line, somebody thought it'd be a great idea to call Columbia the Soda City because of the initials, and it just stuck. And it's been known as the Soda City for a very long time. And when I was trying to think of a name for my brand, I had Soda City Flips or Fum Duck Flips. And I was like,
yeah, that you made a good choice.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that may not resonate well with others. So I went with Soda City. But yeah, so my origin story is pretty simple. I love reading. I'm an avid reader and I collect books and things. And I discovered Whatnot as a place to buy books for my collection. And I was having so much fun in these live shows, buying books and meeting people and, making friends and things that I was like, I want to do this. I want to sell books. So like I think I sold this camera for right around $1,000, $1,100. I had a camera because you guys know I also am very into herpetology, and I go out and catch and release snakes from people's homes and stuff. I go out in the wild hiking and looking for snakes, and I always film that stuff and take photos of the snakes and things that I find. Well, I was like, I'm selling my camera. I can get a new camera. So I sold my camera and bought a ton of books, $1,000 worth of books, and I started selling on Whatnot. And after a while, I was like, well, I wonder what other kind of things people are selling over here. So then I see, people are selling everything from sports cards to, plushies and electronics and stuff and whatnot. Then I go to YouTube. Okay, I want to learn about this. So I think the first person I found was Texas Gal Treasures. Subscribed to her channel and started watching her. Found Josh and Flippy McFlipperson, who are both in my area. We all live in the same town. And I start buying stuff based off of the videos I'm watching. And I'm like, why is this stuff not selling on my eBay store? It's because I was watching videos that were 3 years old. And that stuff isn't selling anymore. And I didn't realize, so learn the hard way. But that's how I got started over on Whatnot as a buyer and just fell in love with the idea of selling. And then I wanted to grow from there. So that's really the origin story.
So how long have you been reselling?
Going on my 3rd year now.
Okay.
Yep. But you started on Whatnot and then transitioned into the other platforms?
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
That's exactly right. Just because, like I said, I'm an avid reader and I collect books, like first edition Stephen King. Stephen King's my favorite author. But I collect books and I'd go on there looking because I saw some advertisement or something and I clicked on it and was checking out these book shows and I was like, wow, these people are giving really good deals. I can't get this $90 book for 20 anywhere else but Whatnot. So I started buying there, and like I said, I just had so much fun with it. I just wanted to get involved even more, so I started selling as well.
What made you want to sell? Like, I'm just curious because it's like most people start the other way, right? They'll start on eBay and then move over to the live selling. And people that are listening now, like live selling can be such super intimidating, especially. And I know I keep hearing some big Whatnotter just got banned. I don't even know. It was some girl. I can't remember what her name is. Or
Nicole State.
She was scamming, no?
What was she doing?
Yeah.
Do you guys know? I'm not familiar with the story.
I've somewhat followed the story for a little over a year now, but this has been going on for a long time, well over a year. But basically, she's scamming people. She's running auctions that are doing like a lot of them are like mystery shows. Like you could get this $1 item from Dollar Tree, or you could get this $50 item kind of thing. And she wasn't showing people what they were winning. And like nobody apparently got any of the higher ticket items. They were all getting like these little dollar things. And there's, she's selling them for 30 kind of thing. But then she was also running shows and never shipping things out to begin with. And because, on these live selling platforms, once you sell 1,000 items, you get that instant payout pretty quickly. So, I can't say this for fact, but I heard she did a $100,000 show and never shipped a single thing. That was like the most recent thing she did.
I mean, if you're going to go out on a bang.
I didn't see it or witness it. That's just word on the street. So don't hold me to that. But yeah,
I don't know how you do something like that and like not expect to get caught. Like you're gonna get caught.
And from what I understand, she's done it on multiple platforms.
Because she's
off of
like
eBay,
banned
then
on
she
multiple.
kicked off of Poshmark, and apparently she's been doing this for many, many years to a lot of people. She used to have her own. I forget the name of the business, but it was like pallets or Gaylords, and she was somehow ripping people off there. I don't know the circumstances behind that. I just heard about it, but yeah, so craziness, man. Yeah, you do it for so long, you got to know you're going to get caught. She did put out an apology video.
Yeah, kind of too little, too late.
Yeah, she put out an apology video and she was saying she got too big and couldn't keep up with it, and she just made a lot of bad decisions, and like nobody has remorse. You ripped off so many people. Nobody believes you.
So I'm looking right now. She has a YouTube channel.
Yeah,
I was going to say, does she have a YouTube channel then?
She has a YouTube channel. The last video that she posted was 2 years ago. So I don't understand, like, she's getting banned in all these different platforms. Do people not know that? Like, do they not care?
Right.
And what is she doing that she's gaining that following like so fast, like jumping from one place to the other?
Yeah, I don't know. I never follow her directly. I just kind of follow the story a little bit. So I don't know how she did it. I'm assuming she's a very likable person and knows how to grow pretty quickly. Maybe she's got awesome charisma. People love her. I don't know, but behind the scenes, she's doing a lot of shady stuff. So
I think she was promising Ray Nashville Flipper autographs, and that's what brought everybody,
That's possible.
Yeah, I mean those can go up to $30 or more.
That's true. Right?
Or more, depending on what the market is at the time.
Right.
Yeah. But Shane, so real quick, so what made you, after you doing your live selling on Whatnot, moving into more of like a static selling on eBay? Like, was that just, did it take a while, or was that like hand in hand? You're like, okay, now I'm making some cash, I'm gonna start selling on eBay, or like?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It was almost hand in hand. Like I said, I started watching some YouTube videos and I just thought it was so cool because I grew up going to yard sales and flea markets and stuff because my mom was poor. Single mom, one job trying to take care of my sister and I. She was pretty poor. Excuse me. And so I grew up doing all that stuff and I loved doing it, but I never realized that people were out there making money doing it. So I'm watching these videos and I'm like, oh, I'm getting into this for sure. And my whole goal originally was, because I had a full-time job, this was all going to be extra money and I could pay down credit card debt and stuff like that, a lot quicker if I have this little side hustle going on. So that's what really got it started. And the more I watched YouTubers, the more I learned and the better I got and the faster those credit cards were getting paid off and things like that. So yeah, it all happened kind of quickly. I was probably on Whatnot for a year before I started selling on Whatnot. And then I'd say within 30 to 40 days of me selling on Whatnot, I had opened up my eBay account and already had, sales coming in. So
Nice.
happened pretty quickly.
What?
Go ahead, Brendan.
No, go ahead.
So how long did that last until you became a full-time reseller, which we'll get into that?
Yeah. So just under 3 years.
Wow.
So February was 3 years as a part-time reseller, or as reselling when I started. February was 3 years, but back in November 2024 on the 15th, was a Friday, I go into my office. Guys, I've been in this industry for 27 years. I was with that company for 9 of those years. Never expected any of this to happen, but I go into work on Friday, November 15th, to find out that my wife and I both were losing our jobs. We were both getting laid off due to budget cuts. And I felt horrible to lose my job, but I felt even worse about my wife because I got her that job. I needed an office administrator, and I'm like, Lindsay would be perfect for this. This is her background. So I talked to my upper management and got them to bring her in, and she wasn't even there a year. She started, I think, like March of 2024. So, maybe 8 months or so she was there, and she got let go. So, that hurt. For one, I felt terrible for her, but two, both of our incomes gone quickly.
That's did they not put that in consideration? Like, be like, okay, we're gonna let go of her, but we're gonna keep you just to kind of like,
no,
or
they
keep
didn't.
You on to you can find another one, or like another, that just sounds so crazy and so like not evil, but it's like, bro, like, have a heart, especially since you've been working there 9 years. I'm sure they've got to know you and like
yeah,
developed a relationship, like, how was that conversation for them? Like, was that easy for them, or like?
I think it was. So I started with this company in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is about a 2-hour drive north of me. And I was there for the first almost 7 years. And then a position opened up down here where I live. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. They offered it to me. 4-hour round trip every day was getting rough after 7 years. So they offered me this position, and I was like, yeah, I'll take it. Well, the office I left in Charlotte was absolutely amazing. Loved working there. The office here in Lexington, South Carolina, not so great. The management needed some work. I did have a friend there who was one of my managers in Charlotte before. He made a transition down there as well. But the people above him were the issues. But we were making it work. Everything was fine. And all of a sudden, blindsided. And it wasn't like it was just me. Nobody was picking on me and my wife. There was 4 people from our office, and there's 5 other offices in South Carolina. This is a multi-billion-dollar Fortune 500 company.
Mm-hmm.
So they have hundreds of offices all around the country.
So you were just a number on the spreadsheet.
Yeah, they just budget cuts, and to be honest, I made a lot more money than everybody else there. And I think it was an easy decision for them to make. Like, Shane has the biggest paycheck. We're going to have to cut him. But I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing I could do about it. The problem is our company, or that company, has a really good background about going, hey guys, we're going to potentially have layoffs. Are any of you willing to transfer to other offices?
Yeah.
That didn't happen this time. It was just, here's the deal. Everybody's getting, not everybody, but it was like basically 20% of every office got let go in South Carolina. So I was able to make some phone calls because I had such a good relationship with everybody in Charlotte, and I got my wife transferred. So
that's good.
And even better, she now works from home. So they gave her the same job she had, but remote. So she doesn't have to drive to Charlotte every day, but she now works for the Charlotte office. They offered me a job, and I was going to take it, but my wife said, she was the first person to tell me, she's like, have you considered trying to do reselling full time? Do you think you could do it? I think you can do it. And she just put that in my head and gave me a little boost of confidence. Maybe I can do this. So I said, you know what? I'm going to give myself till January 1st. That's 45 days from the day I got laid off.
And the January 1st has came and gone.
Yeah. And I was grinding, man. I was doing everything I can to be successful at this. And December, I did $7,000 in sales on eBay. And I've never done more than like $1,500 in 1 month because I had a full-time job and this was just fun extra money.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, $7,000. I could do this. If I grind, I can do this. So it's now March the 12th, and I haven't put in an application anywhere. So it's nice. Working out. It's not easy. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot more difficult than I expected it to be going full time. It doesn't help that I have a YouTube channel and stuff too, because that kind of gets in the way, right? I could focus all that energy into eBay or live selling and make more money, but I enjoy doing YouTube, so I'm not going to stop. But yeah, it's been tough. January and February were tough. March is going really well, so that's awesome.
Well,
I don't know what my numbers are for eBay, but I've done almost $7,000 in live selling over on District since February, so that's helping out. But yeah, I'm just having fun and it's working, so I'll keep doing it as long as I can.
There you go, man.
I think it really helps that you have at least your loved one, your wife, telling you, okay, I think you could do this, and you'll probably be a lot happier. Would you have still had to drive those 4 hours to your new job if you would have taken that job?
Yep, I would have had to. My position wouldn't have been remote.
Yeah. So like that mental, just your mental of like driving there 4 hours, driving back 4 hours. Was it was it an 8-hour round trip or was it 4-hour round trip?
It's a 4 hours, 2 hours north of me.
2 hours there and 2 hours back.
Yep.
But still, that's a lot. And
that's
you
a lot,
being in the car that much, and it's like, man, the grinding on reselling might wait, like you would probably be more happier doing that than doing the driving. I mean, I don't know, but for me, I mean, I can't stay in the car that long, especially getting there super early. But
And
what?
I never minded the drive, but the stress and headaches that come with the position I held,
Mm,
it was a lot. I managed, so I worked for a company called Mastec, Mastec, multi-billion-dollar Fortune 500 company, and I managed the entire Verizon fiber build in South Carolina. So that's a lot of people underneath me, a lot of contractors, a lot of uh, headache. It's just the only way to put it. Like there's always something happening, somebody's damaging something, whatever. Then you got all the financing and everything behind it as well. It was a lot of stress and a lot of headache, and I made really good money, but I'm stress free over here now.
mm.
And I don't have to leave the house unless I want to. It's kind of nice.
And now if you want to drive 4 hours, you can just go to like if you're doing like sales, like going to sales or something like that.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
Yeah. Was there a period of that transition to like, okay, finally like making that decision, or but even before then, like sitting down with like a sheet of paper and writing like the pros and cons, or even after you finally, decided, okay, I'm going to give this reselling go at it till January 1st and see, and like just write down on a sheet of paper, like, okay, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do this. Like treat it more like a job than a part-time hobby like you did before. Like what was that transition like? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are listening right now that want to go full-time, that may be thinking about leaving their job, or their job, let them go like they did you. And they're like, okay, I'm going to have to treat this different. Like what kind of tips or what kind of things did you learn in the process of becoming a part-time guy to a full-time guy to now having that only income to help support you and your family?
So I had a lot of help from other people. So obviously, you guys know we have a fairly small community. When you look at the broad picture of like the world, right? Reselling, it's a small community, and because it's a small community, you build a lot of friendships pretty quickly. But I had a lot of people reach out to me and wanted to help me succeed, right? So like Grams and Pops, Chris Nutter, and tons of other people, but they were all like, "Look, man, focus on sell through rate, higher sell through rate. You're gonna make money quicker, kind of thing." One thing Chris Nutter liked to tell me was try to buy collections if you can, because there's always going to be collectors out there, and collectors are generally willing to pay a little bit more for an item than somebody who just, you know, wants something because it's cool or needs something. But so basically, I obviously I had to write a budget, right? I had to figure out how much money I need to make to be able to live stress free, not necessarily comfortably, because there's going to be times like January and February, for instance, where it was a little more stressful because, I was basically paycheck to paycheck through those 2 months, just to cover the bills and stuff. Now I have help at home with my wife working, obviously, so that's awesome. But I basically figured out what I needed to make per month, and then I focused on listing instead of a numerical number every day, like 15 items or something. I followed what Corey and Teresa, Grams and Pops, do, and they list $500 worth of inventory a day. And I said, okay, what do I need to list a day in order to make this work? And with some help with Corey, we figured out that for me to live, a decent life, I need to list at least $350 a day. Actually, I think it was like 300, but 350 just to err on the side of caution. And I challenged myself. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do $400 a day. I don't know if that's possible, but I'm going to try. And I did. I listed for the first 2 months, I listed at least $400 every single day in new inventory. But then I started ending and selling similar and things like that I hadn't done in the past. So I list 200 new items, $200 in new inventory every day, but then I have 200 in end and sell similar kind of stuff too, and it's still working. It's playing out to be about the same. I'm trying to average $200 a day in sales on eBay, and I was doing well over that all through December. And then January and February kind of fell off, started falling short of that. But now in March, we're starting to get closer to that 200 a day every day. I'm hitting like between 150 and 200 every single day in sales. And so we're getting back up there. But I also started live selling more often over on District. And so the money I'm not making on eBay, some of that is coming from live selling, and it's making up that difference and more. Because, like I said, I did shoot right at $7,000 between February and the first 2 weeks in March over on District. So that's making up for the income that I lost on eBay over the past couple of months. But I don't know if that's because I've started ending and selling similar, but that's about the time I started noticing. But again, I'm putting a lot of focus on live selling now too. So I'm trying to find a balance currently. How do I source for eBay and live selling to where I can make them both work for me and be a part of my business model? So far, it's working out. Like I said, I haven't had to put an application in, so I'm comfortable with what's going on so far.
What were you selling on District?
A little bit of everything. Action figures. I do non-sports cards. So like Star Wars and Marvel and all this, and I'm really big in the history stuff. So like right here, I've got some stuff I've opened in the past. These are called Pieces of the Past. This is 1800s edition, so there's some super cool like gunslingers and stuff in that. But I do a lot of that, and I sell all the big money items over on eBay because there's some of them that you can get a couple $100s for the cards. But everything else I just run over on District. But I also do clothing over there. All kinds of stuff. A little bit of everything. I've done the best with clothing, and then I recently did a bag show over on Dibbed It Threads where I was selling nothing but purses and backpacks and duffel bags and stuff. But I had really good stuff. Dooney and Burke, Michael Kors, Kipling, which is a great vintage brand. And this one Bolo guy's Lapault, Lipault, is a company in Paris. Brand new with tags. This bag was like $300 to $400, and I ran it over there on Dibbed It Threads, and I got $88 for it. I have 30 cents into that bag. I bought out another reseller, so I got like 1,500 items of inventory. I listed everything I wanted to list on eBay. Everything else has been running through District, and I've made a killing on this. I got like a quarter to 30 cents into each item.
I was going to ask you, so you bought out another reseller. How many items did you get? How much did you spend? I mean, do you still have inventory left from that buyout?
I have a little bit left. Most of it's gone through. So I bought, it was right at 1,500 items. This girl reached out to me. I didn't know she was a reseller, but she's a friend of mine on Facebook. Her and her husband were resellers. She reached out and she's like, "Hey, we're resellers too. We're thinking about getting out. Would you be interested in buying us out?" So I asked for a link to her eBay store. She sent it to me, and I liked what I was seeing. There was a couple of multi-$100 items in there with pretty fast sell-through rates. And a lot of brand new with tags items, clothing, high-end clothing, shoes, all kinds of stuff. And I was like, you know what? She offered me $500 for everything. And I was like, that's worth it for her eBay store. Well, when I showed up to her house, she gave me way more than I thought. I had to make 3 trips to her house in my Jeep with an empty Jeep. I have a Jeep Wrangler. I had to make 3 trips to her house to get everything. And it ended up being closer to 1,500 items. And for the $500, plus I got all her shipping supplies. I got 2 cases of like packing tape, 36 rolls each, tons of boxes and packing paper and all kinds of stuff, man, for $500. And that's the single best purchase I've ever made. I sold I think I sold 3 items out of it and got my $500 back, and then I still had 1,400 plus left. So
Nice.
that's why I'm comfortable running that stuff over on District. People are like, dude, why are you selling? I sold, guys. This came out of that. I found a sterling silver goblet in one of the totes from this girl, and I found one sold comp for $485.
Dang.
I ran it on Jake's platform, First Class Treasures, for $3, and it sold for $161. And I love doing stuff like that because I made a killing off of it. I got 30 cents into the thing, but then it's worth 200 in melt weight. So even if that's what they bought it for, they bought it for $161. They can make some money, or they can list it and potentially get, $485 a year down the road when the right buyer comes along. So I love being able to give people good deals over there on District and whatnot whenever I was selling there. But people think I'm crazy because I do that. They're like, dude, you could sell that on eBay. Yeah, I could, but it could sit on my shelf for 2 years waiting on the right buyer to come along, or I can sell it for $160. Somebody gets a great deal, and I made a ton of money. So
Yep.
But yeah, it was close to 1,500 items for $500. Do the math, whatever that breaks out to be. I don't know, but
Yeah,
I didn't pay much for anything.
Plus all the shipping stuff in the boxes, man. That's
Yeah.
a steal. That's a steal.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you do all your live selling on District now and like whatnot? It's just kind of fallen off, or what does that look like for you?
So one thing I appreciate about District is on whatnot, and this is controversial, man. People say you don't have to have a following. You do have to have a following on whatnot. You can build it, but you have to have a following. Unless you've scheduled your show out like a month in advance and all you're selling is high end stuff, and people see that, people will come to your show. But if you're just an everyday reseller and you want to run an action figure show, you need a following over on whatnot. You can build it, but you got to have one. On District, the marketplace owners have built that following for you. So like take Dibdit, right? You got Carrie and Dave and Kevin and Rod and Death Pile Picker and everybody else who's involved. These guys all have their followings already there. So when you go live and Kevin's really good about this. Kevin will basically make an announcement, I think is what it's called, but it sends a notification to everyone in Dibdit and says, hey, Shane's live right now selling whatever it is he's selling. And that brings people to your show. And I love that aspect about District. It's built to be a community. So everybody kind of is there to help each other out and help each other grow. And the followings are already there, and it just makes live selling so much easier. Now, I own my own marketplace over there now because you guys know I like books. We talked about that already. I started my own marketplace called The Crooked Spine, and it's a sci-fi, fantasy, and horror book marketplace. When it comes to static listings, that's what we're niche down to. But if somebody goes live, they can sell whatever kind of books they want to sell. I don't care about that. But I want to keep the static listings niche down. And it's been a lot of fun so far. We just did an all giveaway show where me and Keith Vintage Sports Flips and Alex Beer King Picker, we all went live and just gave stuff away for 2 hours. And we got a lot of new followers and a lot of new people in the marketplace. It was a lot of fun. So my following isn't great over there yet, but we're working on it. We're building it. And hopefully soon. I got Katie Reeds in, so that's awesome. She'll be hopefully bringing some of her followers.
But yeah, Katie on the pod, that would be a good one.
She's amazing. But yeah, so like Jake and Kevin and Dave and all those guys, they have big followings, so their marketplaces are booming. Craigslist Hunter, their Reseller Information Network, all these guys, Crazy Lamp Lady, they brought their followings with them, so you can do really well on District, whether you have a social media following or not.
I just wonder like how long like the following will get like fatigued. It's like, oh, Shane's on again. You know what I mean? It's like I don't feel like it's a good long-term thing.
I mean, they don't have to watch every show though, or they don't have to jump in every show. if they don't
Yeah,
want
there's definitely going to be people there that they only want to support Kevin, Dave, or Kerry, right? Because they're the trash to cash guys. They learned about District or dibbed it from them, and they're there to support them. And that's cool. But I've made a lot of new friends, a lot of new customers. One lady reached out and said I was her favorite seller on all of District. So, like, I don't see that becoming a problem because new people are constantly coming in there. I don't think that's any different than Whatnot. Like, eventually, you could say the same for Whatnot. Your followers are going to get sick of seeing you or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, there's new people coming in every day. So I don't think that's going to be a problem, at least in the near future. It hasn't seemed to be so far in the past couple of months.
Nice.
I just feel like, and I don't have a horse in the race, and I'm not on District. I am on Whatnot,
Right.
but I feel like the potential to grow is greater on Whatnot than it can be on a platform like District, and that's just my opinion. And like you were saying, Shane, if you don't have a following, you're gonna have to build a following, and you're gonna have to grind, and you're gonna have to lose some money to get there.
I was a little.
And it's like, are you willing to do that?
Right, and I was a little fortunate because before I ever did my first Whatnot show, and I did a book show, I was on Whatnot buying books for a year, so I had somewhat built a. I had less than 1,000, but I was like 700 followers on Whatnot, and I'd never sold a damn thing. So just being in people's chats and conversing and buying and stuff, you gain followers. That's an easy way to gain following. But I did that for a year before I even did my first show. And once I did my first show, I had a really good show. I'd sold, over $300 in an hour. To me, that was amazing, for my very first show.
That's amazing.
So Whatnot, I think you're right. I think in the long term, you can build a much larger following on Whatnot. I think you're right about that. But for those people who are kind of shy, because there's a lot of them out there that are doing live selling.
I mean, we know live selling isn't for everybody. Like, you can grind. Like, if you're willing to grind, I'll take the person that's willing to grind and shine for a longer period of time than the person that has a banging personality that only does like one show and like gives up. Like, I'll take that person, but like we all know, not everyone is great at live selling, and they have to understand what's going on and interacting with the chat. And dude, I don't even know. Like, everyone has a cell phone, I get it, but some of these people, it's like they're like going live from like a potato or something, because it's like, how is the quality on this cell phone that bad? Like, I don't understand it. Like, we're in 2025. Like, I don't understand. You literally bought your cell phone at the Dollar Tree, and you paid like $10 for it.
It's one of those prepaid burner phones.
Yeah, I'm just like, this quality is crazy.
I think one thing I can say for District, for anyone who's considering live selling, I'm not shunning Whatnot and telling you to stay away from Whatnot, but if you've never done a live show before, since they're already have the followings are already over there, District is a good confidence booster for first-time live sellers, because you're going to have a crowd. You're going to have 30 people in your show, and you're going to get some sales, and it's a good confidence booster, and it'll help you grow. And then if you feel like moving to Whatnot because you can build a bigger following on your own over there over time, then maybe that's a smart move for you. But as a first-time live seller, I think it's a great confidence boost for people. I've seen it a lot, especially on Jake's platform, First Class Treasures. Anthony Dragon Masters Finds does a live tutorial every Tuesday night, I think it is. He goes live and brings new sellers on and kind of walks them through in a co-hosting stream. He'll walk them through how to set up a show and do all this stuff, and things like that don't happen on Whatnot are really good for first-time sellers. It really can make them feel a little more comfortable, and I think that's good for a lot of people. There's some people they have the personality, they can get on and sell and just have a blast, and it's cool. But like you said, not everybody can. So I think that's
okay.
one positive
okay.
about district. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you gotta eventually you'll get there eventually. You run enough shows, you're gonna get comfortable, you're gonna know how things work. You're not gonna be afraid of shipping. I know that's a big one for a lot of people.
I don't understand. Like, I feel like it's so much easier on Whatnot, and I don't know what district looks like, but I feel it's so much easier than that than on eBay.
One thing I like about district, and hopefully I don't get shunned for saying this, on Whatnot makes all the extra money on shipping, but on district you make all the extra money on shipping. That's one thing that's nice.
It's like eBay.
Like we do on eBay.
Yeah. So that's really only the big difference between the two, and the fact that, you know, I said they're already building the audiences for you over there on district. So as a new seller, I think district's amazing. But for a seasoned live seller, I think you'll do well no matter where you go.
What do you think about the new live selling trend? Is it a trend? Is this here to stay? What are we?
Oh, it's here to stay. I don't know if it's the future. I've heard people say it's the future of reselling. I don't know if I'd go that far yet. It might be. We don't know. We'll see. But I don't think it's going anywhere. I don't think it's going anywhere at all, because live auctions are a thing, right? And there's been live auctions since way back in the, early days of man. I don't think this digital version of it is disappearing anytime soon. It's only going to grow. Maybe it's the future, I don't know. I know eBay has a little bit of live auctions going on from time to time. YouTube people do it. I don't think eBay is going to disappear. Amazon's definitely not going anywhere. But I think in the near future, we're going to see a lot more people live selling than we do now. And I think that's a good thing. It allows people to get good deals on stuff. And I think as it grows, as sellers, we're going to see our finances get a little bit better as it grows, because they'll